All right, one of the exponent rules in your table says negative exponents. And it gives you the example of x to the negative m power equals 1 over x to the m. And that means that if anything is raised to a negative power, you can put it in the denominator and that will now make it positive. So for example, if I had 2 to the negative fourth power and I wanted to make that positive, I would say that is 1 over 2 to the fourth power. All right, now we're going to work on multiplying and dividing exponents that may have a negative exponent. So think back to our previous videos. I said if they had the same variable, we could just add the exponents together, right? So for example, if I had x squared times x to the fifth, I have 2x's, I have 5x's, that gives me x to the seventh power. Now it's the same concept here when you have a number as your base. So both of these have 3 as a base, which means that I can put them together. They have the same base. So if I have 3 to the negative 8th and 3 to the 12th, I can just simply put these exponents together. So this is like 3, and I'm going to add these exponents, negative 8 plus 12. Now negative 8 plus 12 would give us 3 to the fourth power, and that would be our simplified answer. All right, let's do another example. So if I had 4 to the third power times 4 to the negative seventh power. All right, they have the same base. They both have 4 as a base. And then this is 3 plus negative 7. 3 plus negative 7 is going to give us negative 4. So my answer would be 4 to the negative fourth power. And then another way I could rewrite that, because it is a negative exponent, is 1 over 4 to the fourth power, if you were asked to make everything positive. All right, in our previous component, we talked about what you do when you have fractions as exponents. So just to remember, if I have x to the 8th over x to the 5th, this is simply saying that I have 8x's over 5x's. All right, and then we talked about how we can just cross them off because something over itself is going to cancel out and give you 1. So I can cross these off. And I would be left with x to the third power in the numerator. Now, crossing something off is the same as subtracting it. So I could have said that x, and I'm just doing 8 minus 5. And that would still give us x to the third power. So another way you're going to see this is with subtraction. That way we don't have to write it out every single time and cross them off. So if I'm dividing something and I'm going to be able to cross it off, I can just simply subtract the 2 exponents. All right, so for another example, if I were to have 3 to the negative 8th power over 3 to the negative third power. So we just talked about how we can subtract these x's. So this would be the same as 3, and I'm going to do negative 8 minus negative 3. So negative 8 minus negative 3, we know this is going to change to plus, and that would give me 3 to the negative fifth power. So that's simply saying I have 5 more negatives in the numerator than I do in the denominator. And that's it. That's your simplified answer, 3 to the negative fifth power. All right, let's do one more example. So I have x to the negative 10 over x to the third power. So I'm going to say x, and I'm going to say negative 10, and I'm subtracting 3. So negative 10 minus 3 is going to give us negative 13. So I would have x to the negative 13th power. All right, and for our last example, let's say I have y to the third power, and I'm raising that to the third power, and then y to the fourth power, and I'm squaring that. So remember, y to the third power, and I'm raising that 3 times, would be y to the third, y to the third, y to the third. And then I would just add all those exponents up. So I would be left with y to the ninth power. Again, the easiest way to do this is just to multiply those two together. 3 times 3 is 9. All right, y to the fourth power squared would mean y to the fourth times y to the fourth, which would give us y to the eighth. And then to simplify this, I'm dividing these exponents, which means I'm going to be canceling things out. So I'm going to say y to the 9 minus 8. And that would leave us y to the 1, or just simply y for our answer.